Okay, stop me if you've heard this one before. I just can't finish any games these days. No matter how hardcore of a gamer you may be, we all find it hard at some point in our lives to finish the game we're playing, let alone any game at all. Whether it's due to burnout, choice paralysis, or a busy schedule, I believe there are ways to combat this, no matter what level of your gaming career you may be in. So here we go. Let's talk about the biggest reasons why we don't finish games and how to change that.
The first one is having too busy of a schedule. This one may be more for the older crowd, but hear me out. We are all busy these days. There's pretty much no getting around that. So if video games are something you really want to do with your time, you have to commit to incorporating them into your schedule. One trick that worked for me is bringing back something that I used to do as a kid, getting up earlier and playing in the morning hours before work or school begins. When I was younger and I had discovered a new game, it would take a lot to get me off that game. So much that my mom thought that my grades would suffer. Little did she know, video games had nothing to do with that. So what did I do? I got up before school hours and booted up the family PC to play a little Battle for Middle-earth before I had to start in on school, chores, and whatever else we might have going on that day. But now, as a two-time dad, this actually applies now again. I can get up just an hour or two earlier before everyone else and have that time to game. It has worked surprisingly well so far, and that's how I managed to finish Super Mario 3D World plus Bowser's Fury last year. And while I do think getting up earlier to play games is okay to do, I don't know if I can really recommend staying up late to play games. Sure, it's probably fine on the occasion, but I can tell you from first-hand experience, playing games into the late hours can really drain you and ruin the fun of gaming in the first place. If you don't feel good when you're gaming, that can defeat the whole purpose of this hobby. Speaking of which, the second reason why we don't finish games that much is because we don't have a comfortable gaming spot. This one might be easier than you think to fix. While not all of us have our own game room or office to play games in, I believe there's always something you can do to make turning your game on and getting a little bit more comfortable a little bit easier. For example, get a controller stand to have on your desk or TV stand. Make sure that controller is on the stand within easy reach of wherever you're going to sit. And that makes it easier to get started and serves as a reminder to get back into the game whenever you see that controller sitting on the shelf. As far as comfort goes, you'll want to be comfy but not too comfy. Otherwise you're going to end up like I did while trying to get through Tearaway, falling asleep on the couch with my controller in my hand. Find a nice solid chair, cushion it up if you need to, and then have access to water or maybe a small snack, and make sure you feel good and maintain decent posture while you're playing. You'll be able to game for hours if you can make sure your environment is fitting for it. Try not to do too much gaming while laying on the couch or while on the toilet. Make sure you're as much in your element as possible. You may think that getting a gaming session in while laying on the couch will help you catch up on things, but I guarantee you it's probably going to just cause you to get behind instead, because you're going to be falling asleep on that couch in no time. The third reason why we don't finish games anymore is because we have too many choices and we can't make a decision. This one also probably appeals more to the older crowd, but I think most of us can agree that as far as choice is concerned, there has never been a better time to be a gamer. All of the biggest multiplayer games right now are free, for the most part, and there's almost always deals on Steam, GOG, and the eShop to snag games for ridiculously good prices. But the problem is, when you finally find that time to sit down and play, you can't decide which game is the best use of your time. That can be extremely frustrating, but here's how to fix that. Make a backlog of games to play this week, month, or year, and try to keep it small and stick to it. And try to stick to playing one game at a time if you can help it. Spreading your time and gaming sessions between a bunch of different games is the best way to make sure you never finish any of them. Most games have different controls, flow, story, settings, and trying to juggle all of those different systems in your muscle memory at once can absolutely destroy any and all progress you might make in your games during those precious few gaming sessions you might have. Another one that isn't as crucial but might work for some of us out there is to keep a gaming journal. Whatever notes come to your head about the game you've been playing. You can review it if you want to, and who knows, maybe you can use those notes to write a blog, a full review, or even a video script to post online. The fourth reason is that sometimes we're playing the wrong type of game. A lot of times our trouble with finishing games has nothing to do with anything other than simply the genre we selected. For example, an open world action adventure game typically takes upwards of 60 hours to complete. And while that can definitely be intriguing and exciting at first, sometimes the burnout, the busy schedule, and no comfy spot to play in can easily get in the way of sinking your teeth into such a large meal of a game. Try playing shorter games, maybe even in the same genre, and see if it helps. I had been trying to finish Skyrim again for a while, constantly making no progress during my game sessions, but then I picked up A Short Hike. While it's not super similar to Skyrim, it is technically an open world adventure game. And I beat it in a couple sittings. I felt so great about actually completing something that I gained a ton of motivation to keep checking things off my backlog. Even if they weren't my typical genre choice, or even if they were shorter length than maybe I was used to, at least I was making progress on my backlog and retraining myself to get into something, commit to it, and actually finish it. And the last big reason why we're not finishing games anymore is because we're just not having any fun. Listen, everything I've said so far means absolutely nothing if we aren't having fun while playing games. That's the whole point of this hobby, isn't it? If you find yourself not having any fun while playing what you thought were your favorite games, just try taking a break for a while. There's absolutely nothing wrong with turning the games off for a bit and waiting until you really miss them to come back. There's a few other small things that can contribute to not having fun. I believe that if the immersion of the game is broken, that can be a hindrance to having fun. So try your best to turn off your phone, turn off Netflix, and just let yourself enter the game world as much as possible.
And that's it. My 5 biggest reasons why we don't finish games, with some suggestions to help change that. But what do you think? Do you have any other thoughts or opinions that you'd like to share? Or add on anything that I missed? If so, please let me know in the comments section below. And thank you so much for watching.